So let's talk about something that like kind of was I don't know how much anymore because YouTube's grown quite a bit, but let's talk about video. It used to be that if you're, let's say you know, best fake plants or whatever, you just throw up a video on YouTube, you'd rank #1 like that day.
Yeah.
Like that was like the ultimate hack. Like just make a video out of all your posts and that would probably rank #1. Now people have caught on that this thing called YouTube is big, second engine, large search engine, all that stuff, right? Now you do some awesome videos on search, and I think we talked about this in our last video. And like, I can't believe your channel is bigger, and y'all do some pretty like impressive interviews and stuff on that. What do you think of video? Is like that? Is that now like part of what you do for a post? So if you do like the best B2B software list or something like that, do you also do a video for it every time? Or sometimes, or not all the time, or ever?
It's really if you see SERP intent for it. So if you Google that search and you see video on the search, you should do video. If you're not seeing it, you shouldn't do video, in my opinion. You could go to page 2, and sometimes you'll see video on page 2, which might mean it's a good supplement. And in general, it's not going to hurt, but video is expensive to do and do well, especially. So don't think that just adding video, which I think some people do think, you just add video and you start ranking. That's not going to warrant it. So I would look at the SERP intent to decide whether or not you need video.
So I'm assuming, when did you start Siege Video?
Going on 9 years.
9 years? Okay, so 9 years ago, I'm guessing there wasn't a lot of video work being done.
Correct.
At all? Any?
Very little.
Very little?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, what percentage of your clients are using videos for their content?
A good percentage. We actually don't do that much because it's so important to do locally. To do it cost efficiently, you have to do it locally because it's so expensive. Yeah. So we do it mostly as a supplement. A lot of clients will do it. It tends to be more lifestyle. One of the concerns with it is it's hard to attribute it back to revenue because you have to go to the site. It's going to create direct brand lift. Like for us in B2B, it's pretty obvious to see. I see a lot of attribution of like, saw your videos, liked them a lot on LinkedIn or YouTube. But for flower brand, it's kind of harder to connect back.
Yeah.
And when you need some direct attribution, it's harder to invest 5 figures in a video for that reason.
Huh. So what's a number you would say for percentage of clients that do video? Maybe not directly through you, but maybe on their own or something. Like
maybe 20%.
Oh, whoa.
People have channels. So there's a difference between doing video as a strategy versus a random one-off tactic.
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably higher, 50, 60 that are just randomly did a video at some point and they have a channel live. But that's different from like repetition like you're doing right now. To me, that's a different kind of model.
And I'm assuming for the platforms that they're using, I'm assuming YouTube is primary?
Yes, for sure.
Like Instagram, stuff like that.
I think reusing it is important to see the value.
It's like taking this video, cutting it up into clips for YouTube, and then we're doing like a lightning round at the end. I'll do those on YouTube Shorts, maybe on
You could Twitter. Put that on your blog posts on...
Yeah.
I think that's still smart to get watch time up. You can, and it does make your posts better, even for sure.
Interesting. I mean, one interesting conversation I had with a bunch of people is like the clout behind it. So if you have a lot of followers, it's easy to get somewhere. Like the access goes up. So for example, I could say we currently have like 60,000 followers or something. So you coming here to take your time to do this, other than me being just your most best friend in the world, it's just like there's some benefit for you to come here, right?
Yes.
So I think like as you grow higher, you get easier get bigger and bigger people. So, you know, like almost anyone would say yes to a Joe Rogan or something with all his followers because it's like, it just makes obvious sense.
Right.
So I'm seeing like, there are like kind of weird benefits that you get from having a larger channel, or someone sees your channel and you have a lot of numbers. And I know it's a vanity metric or whatever, but it is a way to judge someone. A blue check mark, 100,000 plus subscribers, whatever. Those are all ways to say like, okay, well, they're not some bum off the street. This is a legit person. So I'm trying to, I think like social media, definitely like those are strong indicators that someone is somewhat legit. Maybe not every time.
Oh, I agree. I guess the question is sometimes you can do those things and sometimes I see the raw brand building, but at the same time, when you do raw brand building like that, you can also dilute your positioning in some way. Like you can go generalist and go wider. Like we've thought about that with some of our videos, like we could do that, but it's the same thing of like ranking for most, what I mentioned, those articles that drive no qualified traffic. It would dilute positioning potentially. And maybe people get confused about what we do or things like that. Like, I don't know how often if you go general with these interviews, will you get less copywriting? I'm not sure. I don't think so necessarily, but that's just one thing to consider anytime someone goes broad.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's like a balance, especially with like these podcasts and videos and stuff. It's just like, I love talking about content and everything, but it's not my whole life, right? There's other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think the general thing is kind of like, I don't know if there's a ratio, but I heard this somewhere. I'm just totally making it. It was like you make 3 videos for, the company and then 1 for yourself or something along those lines.
And people, that probably makes you more interesting. So that is a good, I would agree that creating some kind of ratio of focus and then bounce out will actually make you perform even better.
Yeah. My personal podcast hero is Lex Friedman.
I'm loving him recently.
Lex is awesome. I'm just glad like there's humans like him on the planet. And I think he always like focuses on, he talks about like love, and he's very positive, and thing isn't a dystopian future. It's always like a positive spin on it, right? Even though he's like a dystopian kind of Russian guy. But like he's kind of like the one I'd like to model. I listen to Joe Rogan and stuff a lot, but I think his is like a different skill set than I have. Whereas Lex, I admire him because he started the artificial intelligence podcast. He was an artificial intelligence professor at MIT, but then he was just like, I don't only want to talk about this. Like there's more that I like than just this. And so he changed it to the Lex Friedman podcast, which to most of us, we probably would have followed it either way. Like it doesn't really matter. But he was just like, that was a signal that like, I'm going to talk about other stuff like jujitsu, blah, blah, whatever he's interested in.
How long ago did he do that?
I think it was about 2 years ago. I'm totally not getting that right, but it was.
He came into my thoroughfare or my mind like last 4 months or so. I hadn't heard of him, and then probably saw exactly that. He was just a name plus interesting people I like listening to.
He started off with artificial intelligence. That's what he's known for.
And I started listening to it, and I love it now.
And I totally just like, I don't know if it's like emulation is the best form of flattery. I totally just like everything I'm doing with this, I 100% just copy Lex Friedman. I'm sure he probably also copied it from Joe Rogan or whatever, but I look at his channel and whatever he does, I do.
You're not wearing a tie though.
I know I can't do the same clothes every day, Lex. That's too much. No, but I completely 100% blatantly am just ripping him off. That's it. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool how he changed that. So this was originally just about like only content stuff, and I don't think I'm going to go as broad as he does. But at the same time, I was just like, that is inspiring that he has other things on there than just like artificial intelligence again. Like that's the same thing. Yeah. That sounds just like boring. Do week after week.
For sure, and everyone is more complex than that. If this is just you, that makes sense. And that's one thing I thought about my channel. It's like if I had a Ross Hudgens channel, I think that would be bigger. Like you have, is this Neville Medora is your YouTube channel? Or the
it's kind of all over the place. It's like copywriting. We're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
It's still like,
it's like people want to subscribe to a person. I think it helps too.
I think social media is social.
Part of that, yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe we talked about this last time, but like I'm sure Siege Media has like a Twitter account, right?
Yes.
How many followers does it have? Really, a couple thousand.
Couple thousand, yeah.
And how many do you have? 10x.
30,000.
Yeah, so 10x maybe, right?
Yeah.
You are going to be more interesting than Siege Media. Therefore, I would think that I think maybe Neville Medora would be more interesting than a copywriting course or something like that. Because people want to follow like a person, not like this vague brand.
For sure. You still need that company account, and there's risk to that if you're like, of course, if you're running the company, that's fine. But for the people interested in the company, that might not be as exciting. Yeah,
it's weird. It's just kind of shifting, and like there's different examples, different things. But like I think like your personal brand is far more important than it used to be back in the day,
especially in B2B. I think, but it can go broader. I mean, I guess Lex is going B2C.